Hi, Ryan Swanson here, Training and Development Manager at ProSpot International. Today we're going to be talking about a very important part of your PR-5 riveting system, and that's your 3 and your 5 millimeter removal dies. These dies can be some of your best friends if used properly, but if you do not understand how to use them properly and understand the features that are built into the dies, it may be difficult and you might find yourself breaking dies more often than you would like. So let's take a look at the features and the benefits and see how these dies are best used on a real-life application. Taking a look at the 4 dies that we're going to concentrate on today, we have our 2 male dies, one right here, one's for a 5 millimeter, one's for a 3 millimeter, and then we have our 2 female dies. Once again, one's for 3 millimeter and one is for a 5 millimeter. It's important to understand the features and benefits that are built into each one of these dies in order to safely and properly execute a rivet removal. All right, we're going to grab the male 5 millimeter removal die, which is called the PR-10 HD. This is the one with the male underneath the spring. And a couple key features on this is you have a little indentation in there. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but this is actually machined out so that it will fit perfectly on the form side of the die. So this goes on the back side when removing a rivet. So if I hold this up there, you guys can see that it actually sits pretty flush with the panel because this little indentation is going around the form side to make sure that I'm lined up properly. Let's take a look at the features and benefits that are built into your 5 millimeter female removal die. This is going to be your PR-11 HD. One of the first things that I want you to notice is the viewing window. This is meant so that during the removal process, you can see the rivet being pushed through the window so you can stop the rivet gun actuation as soon as possible. Another great feature that's built into the die is even though the die looks like it's circle, the surface area on the bottom is actually oval shaped. So this helps out in situations where the rivets are not all even on the panel, because if I take this on the oval and I try to line it up, you can see how crooked my alignment would be trying to get that rivet out. What happens here is the male side on the other end will actually be crooked and you have a chance of snapping and breaking the die. And when the die snaps, it can be violent. So you want to make sure that you use the rivet gun as designed. If you take a look at the die once again, if I go sideways, you can see that if I put it on the panel, I now have plenty of room to remove that rivet nice and safely without the rivet gun being misaligned. So we want to make sure at all costs that we are lined up on the panel and we are not crooked like that. Now that you understand how the dies are built, let's see them in action on the gun. It's important to note that it does not matter which side the die goes on. You can flip these dies depending upon where the access point makes sense. So now let's see the rivet die in action. I have the first rivet that you can see on the end here. It's a 5 millimeter rivet. I'm going to get my male side is sit around the back of the rivet, and then I'm going to have my viewing window should be facing me so I can see when the rivet is pushed out. So I'm going to line that up. I want to slowly feather it and make sure that I'm aligned properly. Okay, so I'm nice and straight on the rivet. My die is not on the body panel itself, and I can slowly feather the trigger and watch for the rivet to pop out. Okay, you can see that the rivet is removed and it's through the hole. You can see that the spring on the back is now compressed. So this is going to help when I hit the reverse for it to pop off the panel. So if I do have a little misalignment, it should be okay. So I'm going to hit the back. It's going to pop off the panel and the rivet is now removed. So let's take a look at one of those harder to reach areas that we just talked about and see how the alignment works. I'm going to move the arm so that it's up above. And then now if I twist the rivet die and have it in the wrong spot like we talked about earlier, watch how the rivet gun reacts. So I'm going to slowly go up, hold it on the back side. You guys see how it grabbed the gun and the gun actually moved up, and you can see the angle of the gun is now crooked. If I keep going home, the chances are that that male removal die is going to get crooked and it's going to snap off because the panels are so strong that the rivet's being held in. So I would want to back off the panel, get this lined up and get the surface right where I want. and then line it up and slowly remove the rivet. Okay, so rivet's out, and I can now push it out, and the rivet is now removed. As long as you do the same thing every single time, you should never have a safety or a breakage issue with the die. But as soon as you get in a hurry and the die goes on the wrong side or it catches in the wrong direction, that's when the male side of this can break off. So make sure that you're taking care of the rivet gun itself and you're using the dies properly to make sure that you get a safe and proper repair. Hopefully you have a better understanding of the ProSpot PR-5 rivet removal dies. Always remember the basics and remember to use their dies and the design to your advantage. Remember the viewing window so that you can see the rivet pop out, and stop the actuation as soon as you see that. Always remember to line up both the male and the female end and use the design that we talked about in today's video to do that properly. And the last thing that I can tell you guys is make sure no matter how comfortable you get removing the rivets, that each rivet is the same, that you set it up and you align it the same, each and every rivet. If you do this, you'll never have an issue.